Hey, everybody. Good morning. It's Thursday morning, Faith. This time for Community Focus. We do this every week. We're on Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and eventually LinkedIn as we post this. And we travel around our state highlighting our Georgia cities, including a good citizen, someone from the city that works for the city that can kind of tell us officially about what's going on there. We do a clean energy done right segment. We focus also on human trafficking because one of the things that I've been working on for the last 6 years is just helping people see that this is happening and what the impact is. So it's great to have all of our guests today. We're going to be wrapping up at the end with Jamel. She's our good citizen from Ignite. Jamel, how's it going?
Wonderful. It's a beautiful day here in College Park.
Yeah, will we hear airplanes? Are there a lot of planes taking off down there now? Are things getting back to normal?
We're getting back to normal. Yeah. So there is some airplane noise. Yeah.
And then Meredith Hodges, who lives in College Park. Meredith, great to focus on your city today.
I love College Park. I've lived here for 25 years and I don't ever plan on leaving.
Wow. In our Clean Energy Done Right segment, our friend Russell Seifert from Creative Solar USA. Russell, how's it going?
Very good. Good morning.
Hey, we're looking forward to finding out about solar and why it's so popular. Kamala Zolfagare.
Yes.
Kamala, how many times do you have to tell a person generally before they can say your name correctly?
Constantly, but we let it go really fast. I'll answer as long as you're talking about this subject.
Yeah, good. And we'll kick it off with Mercedes Miller from the city of College Park. She's the interim city manager. And Mercedes, I've got to say that I am a College Park, person in that I graduated from North Clayton High School, just south of your city and south of the big runway there. So welcome to our show today.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be with you today to tell you about College Park.
College Park has really been one of those tri-city areas. We used to call it the Tri-City area because you had College Park, Hapeville, and East Point kind of around the airport. The airport was such an important driver for the community. Is it still that way to you guys?
It is still that way. The airport is what makes us thrive. Every time a plane takes off, College Park benefits. And we have about 5,000 guest rooms within a 5-mile radius of the airport.
The convention center, and you've got your own convention center. I've been to it a number of times. How has the pandemic impacted the convention center business?
Well, it's been kind of rough because we're in the business of putting people together and people couldn't gather. So we have thought outside of the box. We have actually vaccinated about 50,000 people at the convention center. We did COVID testing. We gave out food. And during the summer of last year, we actually did outdoor concerts just to keep people engaged and to keep the convention center's name out.
I know that you guys are kind of getting back to business as normal now, and you're looking at that 6 West development. 6 West. Tell me what's going to be there and what it involves.
Well, 6 West was a development that was originally bought by the airport once they put in the new runway and the new airport, and the city of College Park purchased the land back. Now we're going to go in and it's going to be a mixed-use development. It will have housing, entertainment, office buildings, hotels. So it's probably one of the largest projects that's going on in the metro area right now. And we have a bridge that's going to go from one side of Camp Creek to the other side. So that whole area, we're going to change the face of that area.
Wow. I remember going down with Darren Epps from Georgia Power, just going down Camp Creek and looking at possible places for electric vehicle chargers in some of the businesses going out from the airport all the way out to 285. And we identified a number of parking service places because you've got a lot of parking companies there. Of course, the Delta employee parking is right there as well. And going all the way to Camp Creek, that may be out of the city limits of College Park out there at the 285 intersection. That probably gets beyond your actual city limits, doesn't it?
It does, but right behind the convention center, Hartsfield Jackson has actually put a parking deck right behind the Renaissance Hotel, and it's about 5,000 parking spaces. So for us at the convention center, it's an added addition because now we can direct our clients to that parking lot without them leaving the campus.
Wow. That's great. Well, just let's wrap it up and tell me a little bit about some of the companies that are in College Park. Folks may not kind of be aware of the impact that College Park has with our corporate community.
Well, there's a lot going on in College Park. The FAA is in College Park. Woodward Academy, which is one of the largest private schools in the Southeast, Chick-fil-A, Cisco Foods. There are a number of people that have their corporate office in College Park. In the afternoon, there's a population of 15,000, but during the day, the population gets as high as 300,000 people. So we're excited about what's going on in College Park.
Well, I want to thank you for being on today. Thanks for your leadership there. Appreciate the good work that you guys are doing. And I stopped in at the barbecue kitchen the other day to get me a ham. So, me being an old guy, I've got to tell you one more. I got to tell you one more thing. When I was at North Clayton, we were doing this glass recycling program and aluminum recycling. It was a contest that WSB Radio was having. And we were so aggressive in trying to win this that we sent a lot of our football players to Virginia Avenue to go diving. And a lot of the businesses to get bottles, wine bottles and liquor bottles that had been thrown into the dumpster and then bring it back to school. I don't know how this looked. It had to look bad. And then we would crush the glass and take it over to Owens Corning in Hapeville and get our weight credit for WSB. We wound up getting like second. We didn't win, but we went all out to try to win this recycling contest.
Nothing about that story surprises me.
What a great effort. You're true Georgian.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Mercedes. Appreciate
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for having me.
Yeah. Okay. Faith, introduce our next guest. I know you work with her a lot.
Absolutely. Kamala Zulfagari. She's the executive director now of Street Grace. She's also, you're an attorney, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So weren't you used to be a prosecutor? Is that right? In your former life?
I was a prosecutor. I was the Attorney General's chief human trafficking prosecutor. And before that, I led Fulton County's human trafficking unit.
So you have lots of experience in this area.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about Street Grace and what you guys do?
Yes, so thank you. At Street Grace, we really focus on ending human trafficking through 4 pillars: prevention, protection, policy, and pursuit. And for me, it's that prevention. You don't solve a problem by waiting until it happens. Yes, we must focus on the pursuit of the buyers, of those who fuel trafficking, the demand. But we also, in policy, we've been so fortunate in Georgia to have strong executive and legislators who have focused on trafficking and given us some of the strongest laws in the country. Protection, helping those who have been trafficked, making sure that they get the gold standard of care to recover, to become survivors, thrivers, leaders. But that protection, when we recognize that this could be our own kids, we are never okay with letting it happen and then stepping in. We must stop it before it happens.
Absolutely. So can you tell us some about policy specifically in Georgia? I know you guys have worked hard for years now on legislation and on policy around human trafficking. Tell us some of the highlights of the last couple of years with our policy here in Georgia.
Right. So it's really been an amazing couple of years for policy. One of the pieces of legislation we are so excited about was SB 435, the Survivor First Act, also known as the Debbie Vance Act. And one of the reasons it's so important is that was one of the first times, rather than policy people say, hey, this is what we want, We went to the Street Grace Survivor Advisory Board, survivors who are experts, who have lived experience, and said, what is most important? And they said, this vacatur and record restriction. Those same people who can, through force, fraud, or coercion, traffic someone, also use that same force, fraud, or coercion to make them take credit for their criminal charges. And so many of our survivors who go through amazing therapeutic treatment programs and job training programs still have trouble getting jobs because of their criminal record from the time they were trafficked. So led by First Lady Kemp and the Grace Commission, they passed one of the strongest vacatur and record restriction laws in the country to allow survivors. Really, it restores true justice. So they no longer have a criminal record based on their from their exploitation. They are no longer punished for being victimized. So we've created the Street Grace Justice Project along with those same survivors, and are training attorneys across the state, from some of our biggest firms, from some of our smallest firms, attorneys in private practice, to represent survivors on a pro bono basis, to implement this new law to really just restore the justice and help survivors continue their recovery. But in addition to that, just this year, HB 287 now requires human trafficking prevention training in our schools, 6th through 8th grade. We had SB 33, SB 34, creating a cause of action for survivors to bring suits against those who knowingly financially benefited from their trafficking. And from my prosecution days, I know how important that is. You know, we'd find someone who was being trafficked, they'd be recovered, and you would go to a hotel and ask for records. And there were so many hotels that were so cooperative. They had the records. They may have been the ones that had been trained and called us in the first place, and they were the reason they were recovered. But there was a few outlier bad actors. Every time you approach them, they've lost the records, they paid in cash, their computers are down. They were knowingly helping the traffickers. They were helping and leading to the exploitation. And now our survivors have a right to recover from that. And that's really huge. We're very excited. And I mean, I could talk about policy all day. Another one, because so much has been done. Another one was just allowing survivors to get a name change under seal to protect themselves from their former traffickers.
Instead of it having to be published in the newspaper. And that's a huge one.
And if you're in the city of Atlanta, it's one thing to publish it. You know, you're pretty sure nobody's looking at that. But if you're in one of these smaller towns and it's in the Henry County Gazette that's on every single, it's a big deal. Everybody sees those things. And so we were thrilled that they took that on after, again, a survivor went to the governor's office and said, we need this. Help me.
So how important is it to have that group of survivors that informs you? So that's what we call trauma informed, right? In the world. How important is it for an agency or a nonprofit to be trauma informed, to be listening to the survivors for what they really need? Right.
It is so key, because sometimes even with the best of intentions, we get it wrong. There's all the unintended consequences that a survivor can understand, but also it's part of that avoiding future exploitation. So everything we do here at Street Grace is advised by our Survivor Advisory Board. I've been in this for 10 years, but if I'm going to do a new training, talk about something else, I'm going to run it by the Survivor Advisory Board. And it is so valuable, because for too long, what we do is we know what we want, and then you call in a survivor. We get this all the time. Can you have a survivor come and speak? And all we want to do is exploit them for their heart-moving story, rather than recognizing them and treating them and compensating them as the experts they are. Often you'll have a panel, and the only person who it's not their job and so is not getting paid to be there is the survivor, and that is not right. And we never let that happen at Street Grace.
Wow. Faith, she mentioned about the hotels being complicit. I know one of my attorney friends, John Tong from Anderson Tate and Carr. I know they're going after hotels that are complicit
Yes.
and suing them.
He's become one of my favorite people. Yes, they really are. We've worked with them on the trauma-informed side of things. They are suing them. It was actually, I think, 2 days ago, they had a hearing before the 11th Circuit. So we're definitely all waiting to see how that happens. But it's been amazing how that firm and others are working to restore. We will never undo the damage. We will never undo it all. But God brings restoration, and this is one of many ways we can do that.
Kamala, you and I could talk about this all day long, but we've got to move on. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Hey, what's the website for Street Grace?
It's simple, just streetgrace.org. We've got so many of our training materials, and we would love to come speak to your business church group.
Well, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Hey, we're going to jump over to solar for a second. One of my favorite things, and one of my buddies, Russell Seifert from Creative Solar USA. How's it going, Russell?
It's going great. Good. How are you, Commissioner?
Yeah, doing great. A great day for solar today. I hear it's not going to rain for the rest of the month. So, yeah, so solar is really getting popular in Georgia. And I know we got you on today because you've got a number of solar projects that you've done in College Park. Tell me about the typical home project that you guys do.
We've got a number of projects that we've done over the course of years. One of them I think that has gotten a lot of attention is one down on Hardin Avenue. It's only a 4 kilowatt system, but because of the exposure and how parts of it face the street, a lot of people say, I've been driving down and seeing, but solar has really taken a foothold in Georgia. And thanks to the commission and thanks to the state and all the programs that they've done to incentivize and create the excitement for homeowners and business owners, it's really taken off. And our positive stance is that we're creating a lot of jobs. And that's what we're all about. And it's done really, really well.
Russ, what's the ideal home for solar? What is it? What's the kind of the prototype? Not prototype, but the
model.
The model that you're looking.
A good model home is that a roof that ideally faces south, but they don't always have to face south. They can face east and west, and you can get a good amount of solar that way from the early morning to the late afternoon. So, you never want to have anything put on the north side of your house if you're putting solar there. The south is the best. The east and west are just as good, and if they're a little bit off, it won't be affected that much.
Russ, I'm seeing a lot on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, these companies that are coming in that are saying you don't have to pay anything, you won't have a power bill. And are these legitimate companies?
These are legitimate companies, but they're offering these special financing packages that they have for homeowners. So you have to be very careful and read the fine print because they're saying no payments for a year. Well, you're borrowing the money from somebody else. So pay attention because while you're not paying for that loan, the interest is building. So come a year from now, you're going to have a lot more owed than you originally thought. So always vet out, get 2 or 3 estimates from different companies. So this way you have a good idea of what's going on and you can ask a lot more questions. How many installations have you done in this area? Are you familiar with the interconnection? Are you familiar with permitting? How much am I really paying? So have even them give you a cash price and a finance price to make sure it's all one and the same as well. Because sometimes when these finance companies come in, they'll offer you a payment. They won't tell you what the cash price is, but when you look at the cash price, when somebody else offers you a cash price, it's several $1,000s difference. And when you're making a payment and you go to pay that loan off when you sell your house or you move, it's going to be several $1,000s more than what you thought it was. And
what if a person moves and they say, well, I'm not living there, I don't want to pay for that solar anymore? Are they obligated to pay that bill?
That's going to be a lien that's on their home. So yeah, they got to be careful. They got to be careful about it. Absolutely.
Wow. How can folks get in touch with your company?
They can always go to the website, which is creativesolarusa.com. They can look us up on Facebook and inquire through Facebook, or they can just call us at 770-485-7438.
Great. Well, Meredith, who's going to be introducing our next guest, works with Gas South, and Meredith, Gas South is getting into solar. I mean, I'm hearing you guys talk about that and really talk about renewable energy, RNG. I mean, it sounds like clean energy is something that Gas South is really promoting right now.
Yes, sir. We're using it in order to get the credits, and we're also partnering with our parent company, Cobb EMC, to do solar installations there in Cobb County, which is helpful for both the EMC fleet and for residents who want to come by and fill up their solar.
Wow, that's great. Why don't you introduce our good citizen today, Meredith?
All right. So Jamel McKenzie is the College Park Police Chaplain here, and she's also the Executive Director of Ignite College Park Resource Center, and they do it's nonprofit work where they help people who are in need of assistance based on a life change or whatnot, or people who are in a difficult place.
Well, great. Jamel, it's so good to have you on today. One of my masters is in nonprofit organizations, so I'm often called the charity commissioner because I'm always doing all these charity events. But nonprofits are such an important part of society, and I for one, I don't really want government to be doing charitable functions. Government doesn't really have a heart, in my opinion. Nonprofits have a heart. They're committed to a mission. And so tell us a little bit about Ignite.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. And thank you, Meredith, for the introduction. Yeah, Ignite began because so many people in our community, and I know this is probably throughout Georgia, are a paycheck away from either being homeless or in need of basic supplies and services. And we wanted to be able to assist the persons in our city and the Tri-Cities area when they were having difficulty in terms of struggling to pay bills or even looking for jobs and services. We have a lot of organizations that are set up and nonprofits that are set up to assist people, but people just don't know about these organizations. So what Ignite does is we serve as kind of a one-stop shop, and where persons can call us on the phone or make an appointment. We're doing online appointments, and we also are back in the office again with persons, and we'll sit down with you and identify whatever the issues are that you're dealing with, and then we start working on a strategy to assist those persons, to show them the different organizations. We'll make appointments to get those persons the services or the resources that they need. During the pandemic, we pivoted a little bit, and we started actually providing services. We had a lot of seniors and families with school-age children that needed services, and we started we delivered over 36,000 meals to families in 2020, and we're still having meals delivered to senior citizens. So any way that we can assist in empowering our community. We have a program for teens right now, 15 to 19. It's a leadership, entrepreneurs, innovators program, which I know you have a program as well, similar to that, Commissioner. And we're just trying to make a difference in people's lives and give them that step or that hand up that they need, not the handout to keep on giving them, but to put them in a position where they can be able to, live an empowered life.
Yeah, I tell you, it's such a challenge, being able to kind of triage what a person needs and what would constitute to them a hand up. And that's why I really love working with charity organizations that have a lot of experience with this, because the average person riding around in their car that sees a homeless person or that sees a news report, the average person, I don't think they know how to deal with people in these difficult situations. It's the nonprofits that do this day in and day out, and they have the system that works. They understand how to serve a person with dignity and help them keep their dignity, and at the same time not allow that person to kind of game the system. Would you say that's true?
Yeah,
Jamel?
absolutely. And I have to give credit to our city, the city of College Park, because in 2019, our city realized that this is something that needed to be done for their citizens, but it wasn't something that the city they wanted to have a nonprofit administer it. So we actually have a professional services contract with the city of College Park that has been renewed again to make sure that these services are provided for individuals in a kind, caring way, where so we really do try to give that, bring dignity and honor to our persons, because all of us, like I said, we know it could be us tomorrow. And so that's very important to us.
Hey, I was walking from the aquarium to my office the other day. I parked my electric car over at the aquarium, and I saw a gentleman ahead. I thought he was probably homeless. It was early in the morning, and he was going along, and he didn't see me, and he went over to this little patio area at one of the restaurants along Marietta, and there was a chair that the wind had knocked over, and he picked up the chair and slid it back, and there was no one in sight. And I kind of just trotted up to him, and I said to him, "Hey, my name's Tim. What's your name?" He said, "My name's Jerry." I said, "Jerry, why did you pick up that chair?" He said, "Because no one else was going to do it." And I pulled $5 pocket and said, "Jerry, I saw you do that, and I thank you for caring and serving our city when you thought no one was watching." And we got into a conversation. He lives under a bridge on Northside Drive, and was coming downtown, which is his daily routine. And it gave me the idea, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, Jamel, but me and some buddies who are in a Bible study together, we're on June 25th on a Friday at 7:30. We're going to be down here on the corner of Washington and Mitchell, and we're going to have a roll of $10 bills, and we're going to have some orange vest, some contractor trash bags, some latex gloves, and we're going to say to the homeless folks that kind of gather in and around 5 Points and the Capitol, we're going to just go up and say, "Hey, look around. Do you see the trash all over the street here? Would you like to help us today to clean up? If you fill this trash bag up, you bring it back to me. I'm going to give you $10. How does that sound?" And so I've got the GBA involved. We're going to have a little pickup truck to put all the bags in. And I don't know, Jamel, if this is going to work or not, but I want to help deal with people in a way that gives them dignity, in a way where they're taking personal responsibility for their area, so to speak. So I don't know, Jamel, maybe you ought to come and help us, huh?
Oh, yes, I'm in. June 25th, I already wrote it down. I absolutely want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really, I shared this with some folks the other day, and they go, "Hey, why are you doing that?" Well, I don't know. I just want to try it and see if we can beautify our area, because there's just trash all over the road around 5 Points, the Capitol, and just beautify it. And in the same way, maybe we can help a person feel like they contributed to making their city a better place. Yeah.
Count me in. Faith, put me down.
Ma'am, I got your email.
Okay.
Yeah. Jamel, how can people find out about Ignite?
Our website is Ignite Center and the letters CP for College Park.info. So that's IgniteCenterCP.info.
Well, great. It's been wonderful having everyone on today. Meredith, thanks for introducing Jamel and
Absolutely.
to the great work she's doing. Mercedes, you guys keep it up down there. We're praying for you, hoping that College Park gets back to a full book of business there at your convention center and your great projects. Russell,
Thank you.
I mean, solar's been so good for Georgia, helping people to have their own energy plan on their home, and Kamala, Oh, I just don't see how you do it. It's just such it is difficult work as you serve those women who have been exploited, not just exploited, but they've had their lives ruined. Sometimes they die as a result of it, and that's just heartbreaking. But thank you for doing that. Faith, where are we going next week?
So next week we will be in. Scroll down here for a second. Next week we'll be in Athens, your alma mater.
Yay,
And
all
then-
right.
And then the week after that we'll be in Hartwell, Georgia. And then we're going down to Fitzgerald, Georgia, which most people don't know. But it's in South Georgia. We did a human trafficking training down there a year ago. Shockingly, that was a year ago. But yeah, we'll be all over the state in the next couple of weeks.
And Fitzgerald's the town that has all the feral roosters running around, all the feral chickens. And they built this statue to the rooster, a very large statue.
Statue to the rooster.
I'm not joking. Look it up. Fitzgerald, Georgia. They're known for their feral chickens. Anyway, we're gonna find out why that's important to them. Y'all, thanks. I hope you have a great day. Beautiful
Thanks for
day
having
today.
us.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
it, and thanks for your great work.